Triads and Hafiz refuse to acknowledge women's role and hold them accountable for their hypergamy or their role in the decline as we move away from the 18th century marriage. Yeah, 18th century. Very, very astute observation there, JP. Yes, but the other thing is they will recognize hypergamy, but they only recognize one side of it. That's how you get Jordan Peterson talking about, well, you need to negotiate with your wife so she'll fuck you. That has been pretty much the basis of every marriage counselor since the mid 80s. Well, if you just get down together and talk and just like hash it out and just say, hey, you know what, baby, I think I'd like to have sex a lot more than I am right now. Oh, really? I think you should wash the dishes. Oh, okay. So if I wash the dishes and I change the baby and I do more laundry, then you'll want to suck me? Well, I guess I have to. Well, that's obligation at that point. It's not based on genuine desire. That's the bonehead way of understanding like the desire dynamic, which is something I've talked about for a while. But when I see stuff like that, it's always based on this, well, everybody, we're all the same, and men and women have the same emotions. You heard Destiny talk about this. They have the same emotions. We're almost equal in emotions. It's just that, one's taught to be more emotional and one's taught to be less emotional. Bullshit. We'll talk about that here in a little bit today, too, because we're going to get into happiness as well. And when I see stuff like that, the idea is this, or like I think that the basic idea is this, is that if men and women are the same, then we must be just as smart and just as rational and process emotion just the same. That has to be. And if we don't, then the differences are so insignificant, then it shouldn't make a difference. Bullshit. It's the devil is in the details. And that's why we're at where we're at right now, as far as like gender relations are concerned in the 21st century. Okay. In the 21st century, we know that men and women do not process emotions the same. It's a mechanical thing. It's not a learned thing. This is how your brain architecture works. You have a female brain and you have a male brain. And those differences are more significant than we've ever, and we know this now more than ever before, are more significant than they are. We're more different than we are alike as far as those fundamental differences are concerned. Okay. So when I trot this stuff out, people want, oh, where's your sources? And I can give them to you, but that's kind of dry stuff. That's reading material. That's like, okay, where's he getting this from? Where's he talking about this? It's not sexy. Statistics, peer-reviewed research studies and stuff like that. That's not sexy. That doesn't fit into a 2-hour debate, right? But when I talk about desire, and I've said, you'll hear me say this, and one of my catchphrases, I guess, is you cannot negotiate genuine desire. Desire goes well beyond just intersexual relations. It's the difference between organically desiring something, wanting to do something, and being obligated to do something. And that's really where I think like the guys thinking that they can resolve a problem, especially when it's something where as fundamental as sex and frequency of sex and intensity of sex too, quality and intensity of sex, is something that you could sit down at the table and it's like a hostage negotiation. Like you could just say, okay, well, honey, I need to get 10 hours I get 10 times this month. Okay, when can we do that? Let's put it on the calendar. Like you're going to negotiate those terms. Okay. And in that case, I want you to make X amount of money and you got to give me roses and you got to, treat me right and take me a date night and blah, blah, blah. Like there's this, where's the spontaneity? Like this, when men and women get together and they're actually banging when they're single, like premarital sex, when it's premarital sex, it's not negotiated. It's not like it's spontaneous. It's like, unless you're, even on a Tinder date, on a Tinder hookup, it's still semi-spontaneous. You know what you're getting into. Both parties usually know what they're getting into. But when it comes to the familiarity and the rapport and the comfort of a long-term relationship, the only solution that most therapists, most clinical psychologists have, or they fall back on, is, well, you're a rational person. Women, being the same as men, should be able to rationalize and realize and use reason and are intelligent enough to go, you know what? I don't fuck my man enough. I think I better step up the frequency. Like fundamentally, that's where it comes back down to. So you sit across from her at the breakfast table and you have that conversation and you negotiate terms.